Hey, how's it going, guys and gals? Welcome back to this week's episode of the Insider Gaming News Talk Show. I'm joined by Kid Tutu, or actually, I forgot to change that back. Oh man, it's Captain Tutu now. He's gonna get me for it. He's gonna get me for it.
No, that's
You're
all
in trouble.
But we're actually going back. We're coming back for a Saturday special. We're actually announcing our big change of the show actually here soon. We're doing. We're gonna start with seasons here soon. So today is the. So we usually have the show on Sunday, and we're moving to Saturday just because of scheduling conflicts and whatnot for this week. And we're actually going to be moving the show to seasons. So we're going to be doing basically 20 to 22 episode seasons. We're going to be actually moving it to podcasts as well as the Meta Show if you all have watched the Meta Show. And it's going to be something different. Prince Paradox, this is INNsider Gaming News Talk Show. It's actually one of our other talk shows on Sundays, usually. We haven't actually been on in the last 2 weeks just because we've been preparing for this this big top 10 week, basically top 10 of the decade countdown. So we're going to be doing two sections of countdowns basically today. We're going to do our top 10 favorite games of the decade, since our decade is ending here in just a few short weeks. And then we're going to do our top 10 worst game launches, which some of them, and we're going to be discussing a lot of these game launches because some of these are pretty terrible. I'm not going to lie. And it's funny because a lot of these are in the last few years too, which is pretty ridiculous. So let's get started with actually our normal one little segment that we've always stuck to is what have we been playing this week, folks? Go ahead and start with Jesse.
Okay, so I started this week off freaking out because it was finals week, and I decided that to take a chill day, I was going to play some Civilization, and I have to say, playing Civilization for the first time in a long time was a lot of fun. And I played a good solid couple of days of that, and I think after that was pretty much it. I've been pretty much straight playing Civilization this week.
Oh, nice. Hendo, what about you? You're muted, buddy. Our headset died on him. Corey, go ahead and shoot for him right now. It's
okay. I'll take over while he's working. But it was finals week for me as well, so I didn't get to play as much as I wanted to. But lately, we hear you now. Lately, I've been really addicted to freaking Halo Reach, part of the Master Collection, now released on PC. It's so good. I'm loving it. It's bringing me back just those old memories of playing with friends and whatnot. And I can't wait to play some more of it now that I'm free finally. And then I played Warframe, part of the new Empyrean update, and it's pretty cool. It's really cooperative. You really need to go in with people versus randoms. You could do randoms with the first the easy missions, but after that it's you really need to communicate because it is managing how to put the resources to different parts of your ships, to shields, to firepower, things like that. It's crazy. It's pretty awesome.
Did you become a space bullet? That's a request.
A space bullet? No, it's to build your own ship though. That's the only thing I have a problem with. It costs. It's so many resources and it takes so long to build your own ship. Even a lot of veterans are complaining about it. That's a feature I wish that wasn't so hard to get into, but at least they make it easy for anybody to get in and queue up for just to join a crew, which is really cool.
Oh, nice.
So some good and some bad about it, but mostly good so far with the update. And then played Red Dead's new update, the Moonshiner. I got my own little underground speakeasy.
Oh, nice. I'm sorry I didn't get to join you for that last night too. I remember I was supposed to join in.
Well, I'll play it some more. I had a blast. It's a lot of fun. There's a whole new story element to it as well, and the way they do it is it's similar to kind of those businesses from GTA, but it's really different. It's really new. I really like it, and I can't wait to grow it more. And eventually you could add a band that could play music and stuff like that. So and people like can hang out there. So I can't wait to grow up more and sell some more moonshine. Pretty much, yeah. So that's what I've been up to.
Wow.
Hendo, what about you?
Well, I've been taking over another galaxy in Stellaris slowly the past couple of weeks. Been playing a lot of the new season of Destiny 2 lately. Been having some issues with my Forsaken gameplay though. Some technical issues. So I know a lot of people are having. And also started playing the original Evil Genius game. I know Super, you weren't around for this, but Tutu and Shift, you guys remember months ago I talked about the announcement for Evil Genius 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we saw that during E3, I believe, right?
Yeah, it was during E3. I started playing the original again because it went on sale on Steam, and I still have the hard disk.
Nice.
So I've been going that, playing back a little game from way back in 2014. God, base managing games have come a long way. I can say that. But yeah, that's basically what I've been playing. Some old nostalgia and getting up some Destiny 2, ranking up some achievements.
I've been kind of torn between a lot of games this week. I've actually spent a lot of time in VR this week. Like I've been playing Vader's Immortal because the third episode dropped, and I just played through all of them because I've never played them, and I was like, you know what, I'll give them a try because I finally got a new PC to play my VR on, which is separate from my gaming rig. And my God, like the Vader's Immortal games are so good, especially the third one. I mean, they're short stories. Like the whole story, like between all 3 episodes, is only about 2 hours, maybe. But I mean, that's 2 hours of VR time. You actually like standing and having a fight and do everything else. But the story is pretty cool. It's a unique little story with Vader trying to basically bring back Padme from the dead. Interesting. Through this like little crystal that's on Mustafar. And I've actually been playing another game called Pistol Whip, and I just downloaded Asgard's Wrath after the Video Game Awards the other night, which looks really cool. Beside of that, just a little bit of dabbling here and there in COD and stuff like that. But man, like, I gotta say though, like for COD though, this is like my favorite COD in a while. Like Modern Warfare is like definitely taken away from the stupid like jetpacks running across the walls, stupid dumb stuff. You gotta really, pay attention to where you're shooting, like your angles and all that kind of fun stuff, which is really cool because they actually give you angles to cover if you're playing like team objective modes like domination or hardpoint and stuff like that. So they really like emphasize on the fact that you can actually get angles on places, which is really cool.
I play them with you and DC.
Yeah, dude. Well, this is what happened last time. My buddy came over and he's like, let's play. So he played on my PS4 and I played on my PC. We played together and played a bunch of matches. So it was pretty cool.
Awesome.
I got the PS4 Pro COD edition for Black Friday because I wanted to upgrade from my old original PS4. But yeah, let's go into our top 10s. So this is actually kind of like, we originally started this as wanting to go as like an overall top 10, but the overall top 10 is pretty generic if you talk about the gaming industry. Like they'll talk about like which one made the most money, which one did that. And we were doing our production meeting. We were like, you know what? Why don't we just do our own top 10s? Like everybody has a different taste in games, right? Like, if you talk to me or even the host here on the show, we all have entirely different top 10s. Like some of the stuff is pretty similar, but like overall, everybody has like a couple few niche games that they like overall more than one versus the other. So for my top 10, I went through and some of these are like games that are just near and dear to me.
Hold on. Do you want to go like individually or should we do like one by one? Like everyone says 10 and everyone says 9 and then.
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. Yeah. Okay. So I'll do my number 10.
Okay.
So my number 10, which actually pops up on my top 10 worst launches also is Total War Rome 2. For me, that was like one of the best like strategy games you could play at the time, especially with how big the grand campaign was. It was just so massive, and playing like I played the Romans and then actually went through and dominated the entire country. That single player game took me 4 months.
That's Total War for you.
That's Total War for you. Sorry, what's your top 10 or your number 10?
So my top 10 is actually probably my most, well, not really my most controversial one, but maybe my most like different one is Fortnite. Just like even now, like I have this event up on the side, I'm watching it, and I've been trying to sign in for I don't know how long just to watch the stars of it. I mean, now it's just ended. But like come on, like Fortnite for doing like putting on these crazy events, for making crossplay a thing. You know, like crossplay will not be.
They can't handle an event a little bit bigger of an event
without this game. I feel like it's like more than the game itself. It's done so much for gaming as a whole. It's hard not to like put this in my top 10 as one of the best of the decade. It's kind of it's transcended gaming in a way, and not many games have done that. So that's why I give it my top 10, number 10 to Fortnite.
Nice. Hendo, what's yours? What's your number 10?
All right, well, I just want to preface this. My top 10 is in no particular order because it's really hard for me to do that. But my 10 at the bottom, just because it's so new on the list compared to everything else, is going to have to be BattleTech. I really like how Harebrained Schemes came about this game. I was a big fan of their Shadowrun games. I kind of like XCOM, but I hated how XCOM forced you down just one path every playthrough.
Yeah.
And BattleTech answered that by just giving you like, you're just a mercenary company. You can just have all the fun you want. Game progression is very fluid time-wise. I just really enjoy the gameplay. And for turn-based guy, it comes from tabletop as a kid. It was a great translation from tabletop to an actual turn-based strategy game on PC, which is very, very hard to do, and what a lot of 4X strategies try to do.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Jesse, what's yours? What's your number 10?
Well, I already talked about it, but it's Civ 5. It's on the
Not
bottom
6?
of the list. Not 6. I liked 5 more than I liked 6, mostly because this was the game that I used to play back in like middle school with my friends. And I would play back in middle school, and we would go into like we would go into school, we would do school, then we would come home, and every like time I would come home, it was looking forward to playing Civ 5 with my friend who lived just across the street from me, who we're still friends to this day. So Civ 5's definitely on the bottom of my list, but it's near and dear to my heart.
Nice. So we're going to go to number 9. My number 9 is actually a game this channel is basically based off of, EVE Online. EVE Online for me, it's been a game I've played for over a decade now. I come in, come out, like I've created a lot of amazing friends, including being here on the channel, basically through EVE Online. So yeah, that's my number 9.
I didn't even know we could use that one because I thought it was outside the scope.
Oh, no. I mean, for top 10s, I mean, that's my top 10 of the decade. Came out in 2002.
Okay, I was just saying it got released in 2003, so I was just sitting here just like I thought we could.
It technically didn't come out. So that's the thing, is it didn't technically come out this decade, but it made the big game changing things this decade, which is really why it's on my list.
Okay,
for this
I didn't know
decade.
Okay.
Corey, what's yours?
So my number 9 is Bloodborne. Bloodborne is my favorite out of all the Souls games, and I was so like into Bloodborne when it first came out, and I sunk so many hours into it. Just like the whole world, like it being like kind of like this dark version of London, and like the creatures were very inspired by kind of like that, like London, UK, like lore, like horror lore. It was so sick, and yeah, Bloodborne is my number 9. I love Bloodborne. So best Souls game out of all of them.
Jesse, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is Wolfenstein, the Wolfenstein series. One of the first games that I played after Team Fortress 2. It was like, I think I downloaded it in about 2 days because it was so big and we didn't have a really good internet connection. And Wolfenstein, the first one, blew me away. I thought it was amazing. Plus, you get to punch the shit out of Nazis, which is amazing. And then they came out with the next one, and I thought that was fun as hell too. You get this cool like robot suit, and then you get put into like this body. It's awesome.
Oh yeah.
So I very much love the new Wolfenstein series. The old ones are really good too, but that's just because nostalgia. The new ones are awesome, and they're some of my favorite games.
Yeah, like me and Corey actually got to play Youngblood together and played a couple hours of Youngblood and ripped through like half the game.
That's on a different list for me, unfortunately.
But that necessarily wasn't a bad launch though. It was under promoted, I think.
I guess that's fair.
So Hendo, what's your number 9?
I'm gonna go with Star Wars: The Old Republic, the
Nice.
online game, because I grew up with the Dark Horse comics, So, the real extended universe. So I loved the old Sith Empire lore and the way BioWare has handled it. While, yes, we can all say a few things about microtransactions, they've really respected the IP and just really delved into areas that we only heard alluded to in the novels and the comics. It's just really good. I just like the breadth of it and the respect to the IP and the original work. And it is a fun MMO. Like PvP, it's not for everybody, but at least the PvE experience will just keep you replaying through numerous different character types.
Nice. Yeah, that was actually on my number 7. So we'll skip the ones that are duplicates in our lists. So going on to number 8, which actually I think is going to knock out one of Tutu's, is GTA 5.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah. GTA 5.
Well, I feel like I got to talk about it still because, I'll continue off of you pretty much. So go ahead.
Yeah, it's like GTA 5. I feel like it's been one of those like iconic games for like decade. Especially like it was GTA 4. I think was also in this last decade too, right? It was like
no, that came out 2008.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember it came out the same year, Dark Knight. That was a great year.
So like GTA 5, I think still it's still
that was the dope.
Yeah. Oh yeah. GTA 5 is definitely one of those games I've bought multiple times because it started out on 360, and then it went to the new generation of consoles, and then I bought it on PC when they finally made it available on PC. And yeah, it's just one of those games I've consistently rebought because I like it.
Going off, Hendo, Gay Tony came out in 2009, but yeah, GTA 5, man, I give GTA 5 so much credit for jumpstarting my streaming career here on Twitch because, man, that was like one of the games that I stuck with, like starting out streaming, and I just grew like amassed such a following of it, and I know that game like the back of my hand even now. Like if you tell me like if you ask like where something is, I could tell you like where it is. It's just even like the campaign and like switching between the 3 characters, like I don't think we've ever seen something like that before, and that was so like at the time that was so dope and cool. Like, and that was a game that came out last gen that felt like a current gen game. It was just crazy. I love GTA 5 to death. So that's I think that's my number. It's my number 6 on my list is GTA 5. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But my number 8 is actually Minecraft.
Damn it.
Love Minecraft. Yeah.
So if you guys aren't following, we're knocking out each other's like other lists in the game. So if we mention it, we'll mention it for why it's on our top list, but we're kind of knocking each other. It's like kind of like playing Planko with like
but
top.
This is cool because we're like going in order right now.
Yep.
So yeah, Minecraft is just, it's another one that's like it's done a lot as far as like connecting friends and just connecting people together, and like what Fortnite did for the like the end of this decade, I felt like Minecraft did a lot for the beginning of this decade as far as like going like mainstream and putting games like on another spectrum. Because like if you remember the beginning of the decade, like every kid was playing Minecraft, talking about Minecraft, having Minecraft birthday parties and stuff like that. You know, Minecraft was a phenomenon, and it's kind of like yeah, the memes. It's kind of resurfaced today, which is really, really awesome. So
kind of, at least according to YouTube Rewind.
It's
kind of. It's the number 1 stream thing.
Should have even said kind of.
And shout out to the Minecraft community that made that cyberpunk city. You guys are dope.
So yeah, my number 8 is Minecraft.
Let me bounce off that because I want to talk about it a little bit. I have a long history with Minecraft because it, other than Club Penguin, it was the first legitimate video game I ever owned. I remember going over to my friend Jake's house back in like 2012, I think, and he was playing this little game called Minecraft, and he was like, this new update 1.8 just came out. They added these weird Endermen and like TNT and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I'll play around with it. So I built like this cool little thing. I blew some stuff up with TNT. I went home, I looked at my mom, and I said, I will do anything for Minecraft right now. Anything. And I think about a day later, she ended up buying it for me. And I played all the time. I would play Minecraft, I think, for about 2 or 3 years straight. Just that was like the only video game I played. So it's number 2 on my list because it's so important to me. And it was such a huge part of my past, especially around middle school and going into high school.
And what's your number 8?
Nice.
Oh, my number 8? My number 8 is Elite Dangerous. Because I actually very much enjoy the way that it works. I used to play it back in high school about, I think, sophomore year, and it kind of like sucked. I didn't know what I was doing. So I dropped it, and then I came back to it, I think about maybe 2 years later, around senior year, and I started playing it again, and I realized that it was actually a lot of fun and like totally it was Star Citizen but functional. And so I was like, all right, I'll play this. And I think I've played up to about 200 hours of it or so, just in the last like 2 years. So I've been enjoying it a lot. That's my number 8.
And what's your
Alright.
number 8?
I'm gonna knock out another one of Froggy's. I know this. My number 8's Apex.
No, you didn't touch mine.
Okay, I like Apex because, as you guys know, I'm not really the best at your battle royale games you guys always try to drag me into. But Apex, I don't know. I felt like I got the mechanics pretty well, and I actually do pretty well in it when I jump into a random quick match. So I don't know. Apex for me personally, I just had the better first time playing experience. So I'm just kind of sticking with it. I don't know. I know I kind of like Ring of Elysium, but it's too much like H1Z1 to me. I don't know.
It had a very PUBG feel with like fixes from PUBG, basically, for
Yeah.
Ring of Elysium.
I just liked Apex because it was like sci-fi. It wasn't too campy. You know, the animation was cool. It wasn't too cartoony or goofy. It's just some fun, hard sci-fi battle royale stuff, and I was enjoying it. It kind of felt like Running Man.
Nice.
A little bit, yeah.
Hendo knocked out my top 7, which was Star Wars: The Old Republic. That game, that MMO is just so good. It's just that's a game I played solid for a couple years. It was like my WoW addiction. But going on to my top 6 or my 6th slot now is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. For me,
we all have to do our 7s. So.
yeah,
Yeah, we have to do our 7s.
yeah. Go ahead and do you guys' 7s. I'll continue on with 6, but yeah, we'll get back to Odyssey.
Okay.
Well, you probably have to wait. What?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Keep going.
So Tommy will have to talk
Oh,
after me,
shit.
but my number 7 is The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. And man, Skyrim was one of those games I remember like playing it on Xbox like live, and it was one of those games I was playing like with my friends, and we were all just like online, just talking about it. Like, yo, did you see this? Did you run into this? Yo, this happened to me. And it was like one of those games where like any and everything can happen, and it was so like cool and so different. I love Skyrim.
Yeah, Skyrim for me was my number 1 actually for the decade because I played my first so I was actually like in between contract jobs at the time, and I got Skyrim right before I got laid off, or my contract ended for the last job I was working at the time, and I dumped like no joke like 70 hours in the first couple days, like it's just the first week, and then I think overall I've done probably like close to 400 hours. But it was the same thing. Like I get on with my friends like, hey, yeah, did you see this? Did you try this? Oh wait, did you get this ability yet? Or did you try like these different combos? Like we all built different, like between me and my friends at the time, we all built different characters. Like I went with the mage, like heavy armored warrior, basically, which was really cool. But yeah, no, Skyrim's definitely up there. Jesse, what was your top 7?
My top 7. Let me go back to my list. Sorry, I tabbed out for a moment. Actually, the Metro series. I read the books.
Which Metro was in this decade, though?
All of them have been this decade.
Yeah, Metro's been
Metro Last Light.
Oh, Metro. I'm thinking Metroid for some reason.
No, Metro.
Yeah, Russian Fallout.
Yeah,
I was about to say what Metro.
I was like, what are you talking about? No, Metro. I read all of the books, and I loved them a lot. They were awesome. So I went ahead and bought all the games, and I have played all of the games, and I have enjoyed all of the games as well. So it's one of those things where it's just like, it's a niche thing that I like to play sometimes. When I get bored of everything else, I'll download Metro and just play it again. Just because like there's things that I can try and haven't tried. Like I can go loud, I can go sneaky. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. So that's my number 7.
Nice. Endo, what's your 7? Number 7.
My number 7 is Banner Saga, the whole series.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Oh yeah, I'm as you guys know on here, I like turn-based, I like RTS. That's really my niche for the most part. Banner Saga was great. It does a really good job on delving into Norse mythology and just giving you like a really good like chessboard simple layout, isometric as hell. But it works out so well. The story's rich, the consequences last. The animation and artwork are just gorgeous. The music is wonderful. It's like if you ever listen to Neil Gaiman's Norse Gods on Audible,
Yes.
it's like playing that book. Like if that book was a game, it would be Neil Gaiman's Norse Gods. And it's just a fun series. I love it. They do great work with it. It's very emotional. It can almost tear, this very still, slow moving animation. It's really slow, but the voice and just the story can actually make you feel. It's kind of like reading Lord of the Rings as a kid, kind of feeling.
Nice. Yeah, so we're going back to my number 6, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Like, I love the Assassin's Creed series. Like, they've all been great so far. Like, 1 and 2 are definitely up above like some of my favorites in the series. But Odyssey like took the cake because, for one, it's in one of my favorite eras of history, like the Greek / like Roman, going into Roman history and stuff. The lore, the combat, the missions, the story, like everything about this game was just so good to me. Like, they definitely like knocked it out of the park with Odyssey, I think, because they went back like even further than like all the other games have gone, and even Vikings are supposedly one of the upcoming ones, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, my number 6 definitely Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
My number 6 was GTA, and we already talked about that. So Midas.
Busted. My number 6. You know what? This is a weird one. My number 6 is Halo 4.
That's an odd one. That's like one of the most hated ones.
Yeah.
I know. Everyone's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" But hear me out. This is another one of my history stories because I used to be young, but it was only like 5 years ago that I was young, not, like 30. Anyway, I used to go over to my friend Michael's house, who I used to play Civ with, and he had an Xbox. I didn't have an Xbox at the time. I was not allowed to have an Xbox. It was taboo. If you let an Xbox into the home, it would dismantle the entirety of the home or whatever. I love my dad, but he was a little old-fashioned back then. I used to go over and play split screen Halo 4 with my friend Michael, and I would kick ass, and it was awesome. And then at some point, I got an Xbox, and then I got the Master Chief Collection, and I got to play through the entirety of Halo 4. And I have to say, graphically and at least gameplay-wise, it was really fun. I thoroughly enjoyed the story and the fights in this game, and I thought that it was super awesome. I thought the ending was a little eh.
Yeah, that's
and I
everybody's complaint was the ending was just not good.
Yeah, the
Not in
ending was
comparison to
eh,
other ones.
and the main villain was kind of also eh. But I still enjoyed it a lot, and it was one of those games that I would definitely play it again if I had it on PC, which I will as soon as it comes out.
Oh.
So
I give it to you. I like your explanation. I agree that Halo 4 campaign was awesome.
Yeah,
Halo 4 campaign was good up until the end, and that's the only part I could say that like kind of ruined part of that experience. But
right.
overall,
It's
the
one
game
of
is
those games where it's on my list because it's so like important to me personally that like I have to put it on. I can't say that I can't.
I just like Spartan tight pants, so he's cool. That's the only redeeming quality for me.
Hendo, what's your number 6?
My number 6 is another member of the Total War saga. Not Rome 2, Shogun 2.
Shogun 2 was awesome.
Okay.
That was a great game.
I love the hell out of I actually started playing Total War during the first Shogun game back in the late 90s. I've been dealing with Creative Assembly and Sega's crap for decades on this franchise. But I love Shogun 2 because while I love Rome 2's large world, you can go basically almost anywhere in Europe or North Africa. I love how much they were able to put into Japan because all that work they put in the Rome 2, they condensed into a much smaller format, so you didn't have as much bugs or any issues that you occasionally would have in Rome 2. And I just love, the storyline of, combining the shogunate and all the different rival clans. As some of you guys know, I like anime, so, reliving some of the history of the nation that would later, found anime. It's kind of fun.
Oh, yeah.
And watching a whole bunch of samurai just charge each other on a field,
Oh yeah. You can't go
Roman
wrong with that one.
Yeah, phalanxes and centurions doing their block formations are cool. I get it. I'm a big fan of Roman history myself. But just seeing a bunch of guys just armor and big ass swords just charge each other on either side of the field, just like, no, mess it, dude. We just do it.
Oh yeah.
Put on this demon mask and let's go.
So going into we're in the top 5 now, and we've already a good chunk of us have eliminated each other's stuff. Like I've only got 4 more left, basically, because Tutu knocked my top 1.
I got some bad news for you, buddy.
Oh, who are you knocking out?
Just go, keep going.
No, you're.
Oh no, it's my turn.
It's Tommy's turn.
Until Dawn was my number 5, just based on the fact that you can choose butterfly affect your story. Like one thing you say, one thing you do, one path you take, like changed how you either kept or killed the characters. And by the way, saving all the characters is extremely hard. I've tried 5 times. I've only done it once. And I did it all.
I didn't put that on my list because I haven't completed that game yet. Because I was just like, damn it. Those damn Wendigos, man.
Oh, dude, the Wendigos. The Wendigos get you, man.
It pissed me off at the end when I was playing. Oh my god.
Well, yeah, that's the part. Is like a couple parts is really deceiving to try to save Jessica. Jessica is the one that is like the most impossible to save. Like
shut up.
They try to kill her so many times, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
Like just her. Like forget everything else. The Wendigos are going after Jessica.
I'm just trying to figure out if she pissed off the Blair Witch in high school or something. I don't know what she did.
Dude, who
somebody
knows?
had it out for her.
Yeah, that was definitely my top 5. What was yours, Tutu?
So my number 5 is the same as Hendo's. My number 5 goes to God of War. Yes. God of War was a game I feel like a lot of people were looking forward to, but because of the previous ones, like no one thought it would be as great as it is. Like this is one of the best narrative, like action-packed games we've had this generation. It's phenomenal in absolutely every way. I love just this old grizzled like Kratos taking care of Atreus, and the whole story of them, taking the mother's ashes to the top of the mountain, I thought was so beautifully done, and just like interjecting it with Norse mythology was just freaking just perfect. I love God of War.
Nice.
I've been with it since the beginning. I've loved the whole franchise because they found a way to do almost every Greek demigod myth without only naming like 2 of them. Like you only see like Hercules. You only see like Hercules, but Kratos is just like an awesome vehicle for like Greek mythology, and it was just so much fun. I had so much fun playing God of War every game, no matter what. I can go play the first one right now and still have a blast.
Nice. Well, yeah, that was both of your guys' top 5, huh?
Yeah.
Number 5.
Yeah.
Wow. Jesse, what's your number 5?
Hey Hendo, I have some bad news for you.
Okay,
I'm gonna go ahead and take Doom from you real fast. The new Doom.
You don't even know about Doom.
Oh.
Me and Tutu went crazy on Doom too.
So the new, for me, I'm growing up in the generation of the new Doom. And
there's no new Doom. It's almost over.
It's okay. Relax. The new game, the 2016 one, was amazing. Hands down, flat, like on the table. I played that so much. I downloaded it right in high school. And I downloaded it right at like a critical turning point in my life, because I had just gotten a girlfriend and like things were going really well, and then all of a sudden like things started to go really bad, and then I had Doom, and I was like, oh cool, I get to like rip apart demons and stuff when I feel shitty. And I was playing it, and then I was like, this is actually like really cool in terms of like an actual gameplay standpoint. And then I found the snap map editor. And I started making stuff in snap map, and I thought it was the coolest goddamn thing. So Doom is on my list simply because of the snap map editor.
Yeah, I was gonna talk about that editor a lot because I haven't had an editor that good since I forget which Halo it was that introduced the editor.
Was it
Xbox.
Forge, right?
Yeah,
Well,
the Forge.
Well, Doom 3, I think, brought
Halo
it in
3,
originally.
right?
Or
I think
well,
it was Halo 3.
Halo 3.
Yeah.
2
Yeah,
or 3.
Halo 3, that's what
Yeah.
Anyway,
man.
yeah. So I fully
I think y'all killed all your guys. Everybody killed each other's like top 5. Like Hendo lost 2 in that round.
Sorry, Endo.
No, I still got 3 of my top 5. We're going strong, baby. 3 out of 5 ain't bad. I think that's a Meatloaf song.
Oh man. Wait, so is that all of our top 5s?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Oh, well, we're on to 4, right?
Yeah, we're on 4.
Okay, we got to 4 now. Okay.
Yeah.
So my top 4 actually goes to the later half of the Mass Effect series, like the 2, 3, and Andromeda. Now, don't get me wrong. Yeah, 2, 3, and Andromeda. Like, okay, for 1, 3 introduced multiplayer for the first time, which was a big thing, and I really enjoyed the horde mode they had in 3. And then I even enjoyed it even more when they did it in Andromeda because it got so much better. The weapons got crazier, the abilities got crazier. Like, it's just solid. Luke, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it. But yeah, like the Mass Effect series, like hands down has got me has gotten me pretty good in those.
I'll concede on 3, but no, I still hate Andromeda.
Everybody hates Andromeda. I mean, they fixed it finally, but it was still there. It was still a pretty bad one.
So my number 3 was actually Mass Effect 2.
The earliest one, yeah, it was like 2012 or so.
Yeah.
For Mass Effect 2, for me, man, I felt so weird playing it because I felt so weird because it was the first time where I was like, man, am I actually supposed to care for these characters? I think I actually like these. I have a crush on these characters. I felt weird. I thought I thought I was alone, but no, everybody felt like that. And Mass Effect 2 did such a great job of taking these characters and making their individual story missions and really making you care for them and just so invested versus any of the other Mass Effects to where it all came to a head with that last suicide mission, which was so crazy and so intense. It was like everything is on the line and anybody could die and you're trying to save your whole crew from dying. And I think that's just honestly one of the best missions in any video game I've ever played. Yep. And Mass Effect just as a whole, just such a great job with choice and giving you free will to make choices pretty much within the story. So
Miranda's Bay.
Yeah. So Mass Effect 2.
I don't care. You guys can judge me because I was like, nah, I'm with that.
I mean, that's a good one because you explained it way better than I did. Like old BioWare stories were the reason you played them. Hands down.
Gave a shit.
Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. I mean, they're not in this decade, but those were some of my top 10s in gaming history. Period.
Even the Dragon Age series,
or even the Dragon Age series. Yeah, Dragon Age, Mass Effect.
Was great. Even when they did Silly Titans, when they did that Felicia Day DLC for Dragon Age 2, that was still great. I was like, yo, this actually works.
Everything that BioWare has created except for Anthem, fuck Anthem. It's been great. Story wise. I mean, I like the concept of Anthem on a sidetrack.
Yeah, the concept was great. Everybody beat Iron Man.
It needed to be fit. It still needs to be fit.
Mass Effect 3 kind of took those choices away from us, but I still feel like it's all part of the journey. And definitely Mass Effect 2 had the best journey out of all of them. So hats off to Mass Effect 2 for me. That was my number 3.
What was your actual number 4?
So yeah, my number 4 is The Last of Us.
That's a good one.
The Last of Us is another one. It's kind of like Mass Effect in the same way where, man, I remember playing that opening segment and just crying. I just couldn't help but to cry,
that was such a sad segment though.
Yes. Oh man, even thinking about it now it's just absolutely crazy. And I really love this kind of distraught world that they built with The Last of Us, and of course these characters with Ellie, with Joel, and everyone else. It's such a great, fantastic world, and I can't wait for part 2 in 2020. Let's go, baby. So The Last of Us is my number 4.
All right. Jesse, what's your number 4?
My number 4, which I know I'm not going to steal from anyone, is the Metal Gear series. I love Metal
5?
Gear.
I think
am I
5
stealing- no,
5 was the latest one, right?
5 and Guns of the Patriots, which is controversial. I liked Guns of the Patriots. I thought it was funny and stupid and really cool, and you got to play as this like old boomer walking around shooting shit, and it was really cool.
Even
But I liked
Survive, you like
5.
Survive?
Nah.
you said the series. Just say
Oh,
it.
right.
Oh,
The
Well,
only-
I really
the only
enjoyed
two
Metal
that-
Gear Solid 4 and 5. Fuck Survive. Anyway, I really enjoyed 4 as much as people were like, "Oh, it's just a cutscene movie." Like, great, cool. I'll just like get like some food and sit here, play the segments I want to play, and then when the cutscenes come, I can eat my food, and it's like a great experience. 5 was awesome because it had some of the best mechanics in the entire series. Like straight up, it was the coolest open world Metal Gear game I could have asked for, and I'm really good at it, and I love it. It's one of those games where I'll log on just because I want to kick some ass, just because I know I can, and it's awesome.
Multiplayer on that
So
was really fun too in the beginning.
yeah,
it was.
absolutely. So the ending kind of sucked again, but like also I don't really care. There's so much content still left for me to play that it's still fun. And then the like difficult missions and stuff, where you have to like subsist or whatever, it's so cool. So that's my number 4.
All right, Pendo, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is another kind of recent release. Came out just a couple of years ago. Stellaris.
Woo!
I'm actually sad I didn't have that on my personal list because that's another game I've sunk like 200 plus hours into.
It is a real, like I said it earlier in the show, I'm a big RTS guy. As an RTS, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with it, and it's so good in terms of the real time.
It's literally take over a galaxy system by system.
Yep.
Built massive armadas, mess each other up. I do have my issues, as you guys have heard me complain many times about Paradox and their lack of understanding towards their mod community, disabling my game for weeks at a time sometimes.
Oh, I know. Every update, it's like you have to wait.
I use
for your
like
mods to
30
update.
plus mods on a regular basis, so every update like murders my game.
I've had to cut down just for that reason because they murder the mods every time.
And
Oh,
yes,
boy.
I said Stellaris.
Stellaris.
I actually like
That's a good
the,
one. It's a really good one, actually.
It is. I have a lot of fun. I have a bunch of mods for custom ships. Like I have like the Empire from like the comic books, from the movies, the Galactic Empire. I have a bunch of custom ships from different IPs, some animes, like Legend of Galactic Heroes. I have like all the ship sets on my Stellaris, which are fun to play with.
Nice. So we're going in our our number 3s.
I got one left.
Mine was Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, I don't know if that takes out yours, or unless you're talking about one.
No, yeah.
Oh, okay. He has his number 2. So yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, I got to play it a good chunk on console, but since it's I finally got it working on PC because it was just a couple rogue files left over. But yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2, man, like so much fun. It's just like GTA in that same sense. Like you want to go and just explore a world and have fun with it, and plus the hilarity you can do with your getting knocked off your horse or getting your horse hurt in some way or another still just trips me out. It's awesome. It's definitely an experience.
Yeah, I kind of feel like once I actually beat it, it'll probably cross out Red Dead, the first one, but I haven't beaten it yet, so the first one's still really near and dear in my.
I mean, Red Dead Redemption 1 is still
Yeah.
And I knocked out your number 3.
Yeah, my number 3 was Mass Effect 2. Already talked about it. Phenomenal game. Love it.
Yeah, we all agree here. Mass Effect 2 is the bee's knees.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jesse, what's your number 3?
Payday 2.
That's a surprise.
This wonderful little game, created by Overkill. I love Payday 2 because I, for some reason, like to steal things. And this gives me an outlet to do that in a much larger sense.
You're young and broke. It makes sense.
Yeah, I'm young and broken. Sometimes I want to steal something like $2 or $3 million from a big old bank with a lot of guns. Like, it's fun to me.
Why not?
At the same age, I decided to do. I was like, I need to go overseas and go blow up shit there.
Go blow up a bank and steal all their money. No, it's just a lot of fun, and I've put a lot of hours into it. I'm top rank. I'm like literally the highest you can go in terms of like prestige or whatever it's called again. Infamy, that's what it was. And I just play it a lot. I've got all these loadouts, all these kits and stuff. And nowadays I like to play because I like to join lobbies that are like easy, like super easy lobbies where they're like new players and stuff, and just like wreck everything for them and have them be like, "Oh my god, thank you so much." It's really fun. And I used to play it a lot with my friends too, so that's why it's in my number 3 slot.
Nice. I know what's your number 3.
My number 3 was already knocked out.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
My number 2, my final one on my list.
We're not on 2 yet. Don't spoil it.
All right. So my number 2 which is my last one because my number 1 was knocked out, which was Skyrim. But my number 2, it's actually on also another list too, is Battlefield 4. Like Battlefield 4 for me, like, so it's funny. Like if you ever go to look at the history of me gaming and any of my friends that have known me for years and years, every major PC upgrade that I've ever had throughout the last like probably 15 years has been tied to a Battlefield game. Like I'll upgrade my PC specifically to play well on Battlefield. Like Battlefield 4, like hands down, like EA, please bring back modern Battlefield. Like make a good Battlefield. That'd be happy.
Oh my god, I want that so bad.
I'm tired of like the World War II stuff. Like it was cool at first, like and then they spammed it for like 2 years between all the different games, and I was like, okay, I'm good. Stop, please, stop. Okay, stop.
Or I would love a Bad Company 3. So good.
Bad Company 3 would also be a good one, or a standalone Battlefield 5, like an actual Battlefield 5.
Yeah,
they can just go to another battlefield. We went to war a couple more times since World War II. That's the thing that gets me mad with these people. We got plenty of stuff. We can do like Kosovo. We can do Vietnam. You know, we can do all kinds of stuff. We can do Pol Pot and Cambodia.
But I personally, I wouldn't mind another Battlefield 2042, like a futuristic one, because that futuristic one, it died because of the malware or whatever they had on their not their malware, but their DRM service killed that game. But Battlefield 2042 is also really solid. Like I'd love a new futuristic one too.
2142 was dope. Yeah. Okay. Vietnam's main. Okay, the Korean War. That you can make a couple dope games out of the Korean. Yes, you can. You can make some dope games out of the Korean War. They made 2 games about the Korean War.
As the resident politician.
Oh no.
As the resident person who's actually been there and dealt with them in real life through a political entity, yes, we can.
So,
I've dealt with them in the field.
Okay. Anyway, moving on.
So my number 2 is Red Dead Redemption. This goes out to the first one. It's crazy because like looking at my top 5, like all these games like had such an emotional I had such an emotional response to, like, even Red Dead, man, that ending. Oh my god, I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't played it. I mean, it is old, but man, that ending made me just freaking tear up so much. And just going through that story of John Marston, you know, he was such a guy that was trying to get out of like this cowboy life and get out of this gang life, and you know, every corner he tried to, he just couldn't, and it was freaking phenomenal, even thinking back to it. And I also sunk in like a ton of hours into the multiplayer, and the multiplayer compared to now was so different, but it's still so fun and so much you can do. I love Red Dead Redemption, so that's my number 2 game right there.
All right, Jesse, your number 2 is knocked out, I think, right?
Mine was Minecraft. Yeah, it's knocked out.
Hendo, what was your number 2?
My number 2 was the greatest Fallout game of all time, New Vegas.
Woo!
New Vegas is pretty good. Choice. That was a fun one.
New Vegas was the bomb because you know what? Where Fallout 3's engine made you mad, Obsidian fixed it. That map was expansive. The lore was great. The house always wins. Okay? Always wins. Forget your NCR. Forget your Legion crap. All right?
Nice. All right, so we're going to go straight back.
I just loved it. It was great. The way they did everything, the lore was expansive, and they went away from the vault. It was set in the Fallout universe, but you weren't some vault dweller chosen one. That was my best part about New Vegas. You were just a random citizen of the wasteland that got involved in some crap.
It was actually a really good story. I loved it just for that reason too.
Yeah,
game was rigged from the start.
We're gonna go straight back to Tutu because my top one was actually knocked out.
Could you think of any like honorable mentions real quick, or you think
for top one?
You need some time, like just honorable mentions like that didn't make your list, like that games that you love.
I mean, everybody's talked about a lot of the games that I would have done for sure. Like, I mean, Elite Dangerous was definitely up there. I mean, yeah, the Red Dead series. I mean, we talked about Skyrim, Star Wars: The Old Republic. Like, a lot of these, they're just so good. I mean, that's as much as I could get. So, like, yeah, like for me, like I said, my top one was Skyrim, just for the fact that like it was just so in depth. But yeah, let's go to your top one.
So quick honorable mentions. I got to shout out Animal Crossing New Leaf. Great game. I got to shout out Warframe.
Warframe definitely is a worthy worth it mention.
Just like GTA, I owe so much of my success to that. So I got to shout that out. I got to shout out The Binding of Isaac.
Woo! And, hell yeah! Oh my god!
Yeah,
that was
my last shout out for. Yeah, it just didn't make the cut. My last shout out for honorable mentions is Journey. Phenomenal game. If you never heard of it, so good.
Journey was good.
It's on PC now, so yeah.
It was actually a free Epic game a while back.
Yeah. So my number one goes to the best game of the decade for Tutu is The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Man, playing this game, I saw the reviews, but I just did not think it would be like that damn good, but it is that damn good. That is like, if you get a Switch, if you have a Switch, if you're planning on getting a Switch, that is the essential game to get. I remember just staying up late nights playing it on my Switch, and man, the first time I was in like this snowy region and I heard this beautiful music and I heard like this wind picking up, and I was like, what is that? And I look off in the distance and I see this like majestic dragon just flying by. I remember like I just started crying. I was like, it's like, it was so weird, but this game is so beautiful in absolutely every single way. And it's a joy to play. So my number one is The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild for the best game of the decade.
Nice. Hendo, we went over yours. I think it was Mass Effect, right?
Yeah, mine was Mass Effect. But honorable mention, Destiny. I'm enjoying the franchise in general. Honorable mention, honorable shout out to Destiny, because even though you guys are making me mad right now with this error code honeydew bullcrap, I do enjoy your universe. I do enjoy your game. It's like dimensions upon dimensions. It's worse than the Marvel multiverse up in here, and I'm enjoying it.
All right.
I guess it's my turn then, huh?
Yep.
I'm gonna do some honorable mentions. And I have to do this. I have to log into Steam. But I'm gonna shout out some games that I played on my crappy Linux laptop back in high school. First off, Binding of Isaac. That was my game. That was the shit back in high school. That was everything.
I still think it's like the best indie game, probably.
If you had the distro on your flash drive for Binding of Isaac in high school, you were a god. People hailed you as a god. The other one is Kerbal Space Program. I don't know how many times.
That's an amazing game too. Actually, that is definitely worth an honorable mention, because like the early version when you were able to get it for $10. Like one of the coolest games you could play. Like me and a couple of my buddies, we sat in a room designing spaceships together, and that was like a super big like moment for me.
We would mod the heck out of it, and we would have we would sit in class and we would like play these modded versions together, and we would launch. We had a whole like satellite network set up. It was awesome. So now that I've honorable mentioned those two wonderful little games, and the Powder Toy. Shout out to the Powder Toy, specifically the Powder Toy. My number one game of all time is Portal 2.
Portal 2 is definitely good.
The way that I got this game was I saw a billboard for it in the middle of Hillcrest in San Diego, and I looked at my mom and I was like, I want this game too. And she was like, Minecraft and Portal 2? And I was like, yes, of course. My original computer was an old Mac computer that couldn't run the Source engine. It didn't have a graphics card that was powerful enough to run it. So I had to wait like 2 years to actually be able to play Portal 2 the way that I wanted to. And then I did, and oh my god, it was my favorite game. I know I've showed this off before, but I have a tattoo of the Aperture logo
Oh wow.
Just because it's my first tattoo, and I adore this game more than anything. So, and the co-op was fantastic. The
Yes. Oh my
storyline
God.
was
Oh, yeah.
amazing. The mods that have come out for it are also amazing. And then the level editor, they literally they gave exactly what I wanted to me without even warning me. They were just like, oh, by the way, here's this awesome level editor that works perfectly and you can build your own test chambers in. And I freaked out. I thought it was the coolest thing. So
Oh, yeah.
Portal 2 remains my number one game of all time.
That's one of those things I have to shout out to Valve for. Like every time Valve
Oh,
makes a
absolutely.
game, it's always a game changer of some sort. Like
Man, that
We talk about Half-Life Confirmed.
Oh my god.
Half-Life Alyx. Coming out
that
soon.
orange
'cause
box,
anyway-
man, was oof.
Yeah.
That announcement a few weeks ago. Woo!
I'm excited.
I'm excited. I think we have all of our top ones, right? Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Now it's
So-
time for the tea.
So
For the
I think for show's sake, we're gonna go for the top 10, just one section of the top 10 worst game launches of the decade. And most of these are just like how bad they were throughout the media and how bad it was throughout like the gaming communities and everything else. And we'll do some honorable mentions for some of the other ones too. So through the top 10 list of worst game launches this decade, like these are some of the ones like for me that were just like bad. And they weren't just bad for me, they were bad in a lot of people's lists. Starting with number 10. SimCity, released in 2013. It was the first game that was one of the first big games that was an always online version and also was just super, super broken when it first came out. And it never recovered. It sold a bunch just because it was SimCity was a popular franchise back then, but ultimately
popular
died.
is an understatement.
Yeah.
SimCity was the shit.
It was the king.
It was a king of
I used to play the crap out of
city builders. Yeah.
Play that Children of the Nile, Caesar 4, all the original city builder games.
Yeah. I mean, it was the king of the king, and it definitely fell just as hard as it came up. Number 9 was actually one that came out last year. Overkill's The Walking Dead only lasted 4 months or 3 or 4 months. It was dead on arrival. It was super broken, super limited. It basically played like Payday 2 with a theme of Walking Dead, which apparently it was so bad in terms of how the license was used that the Walking Dead creators pulled the license for it and removed it from shelves and refunded almost everybody for their purchase.
Yeah, I think the creators agreed with all of us with saying like the only thing good about that whole game was the trailer.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was one of the worst launches I've ever seen in terms of a game.
I feel like the game came out too late too, because a lot of people were over not only just The Walking Dead, but kind of the whole zombie phase too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little burnt out. Number 8 for top 10 worst game launches this decade actually happens to be one of my it was my number 10. Total War Rome 2. When it first came out, nobody could log into the damn game. The game crashed nonstop, and also had like tons and tons and tons of problems just like playing through the campaign. Like people were going in playing like 50 hours and then they would lose their save. Or they couldn't progress in their campaign, or their characters would get stuck. And it was just all kinds of stuff like in the beginning. About 4 months later after the initial launch, they finally got their stuff together, and it still ended up coming out to be one of the better Total War games, or one of the best Total War games that still exists in the market today. Going back, number 7, Aliens Colonial Marines, 2013. My God, this game was a shit show. Like in terms like 2013, like there's actually 3 games, at least 3 games that were mentioned that out for 2013, and this one is like still like one of the worst.
And the studio head was just the cherry on top. It was like if Uwe Boll made a video game.
Oh my God.
The game, like the game was super buggy. It wouldn't stop crashing. The gameplay, like nobody could finish the game for the first like 4 months of the game launch, and the studio all but shut down basically less than 6 months after the game launched, which was like pretty crazy on its own. And it also underutilized the IP, I think, in terms of how it was played, but it was just super bad.
Worst bots
Oh,
I've
yeah.
ever
Oh,
dealt with.
that was the other thing. Yeah, the bots would like randomly, they were like, all right, let's go this way. And they'd run into the wall and they would stay there and you would lose all your teammates basically because they would get stuck on walls somewhere. Or even worse, the alien would go and look at you and walk the other way. That was another one I remember seeing a clip for.
It was ridiculous.
This one, I don't think necessarily is their fault, but like at the end, it finally happened. Number 6, Duke Nukem Forever. It was in development hell for 13 years. Duke Nukem Forever was in development, and it finally got released after 5 separate studios had worked on this game. 5. The last one basically just picked up the pieces and pushed it out the door because they just needed it out because it's been development hell forever and a day. And to be honest, I think we all hoped that it would have just gotten canned at this point because the game that came out was not good. It was so bad, so disconjoined. It looked like an old dated game to begin with. I mean, it looked like a 10-year-old game by the time it came out.
I went and played an emulator for N64 to go play the original. I won't lie.
Yeah.
I was like, that was so much better to do.
It was just so freaking bad.
I always like to bring up the Shigeru Miyamoto quote where he says a delayed game is eventually good, but a bad game is bad forever. But this is like not one of those cases.
No, this was both cases. Like
it's still bad.
And it was also the story of like the infinite peeing. You could go to any stall and just sit there and pee forever. And you could put your controller there, hit the button, and walk away, and he'll come back 6 hours later and he's still peeing.
Wow.
Man's got to pee.
Man's got to pee. So our number 5, Extinction. It's actually a game that came out this year. Yeah, Extinction came out, and I don't know what went wrong, but it's in a lot of top lists for whatever reason. It flopped basically the first week it came out. It just didn't appeal to people. It didn't have the same premise that it like the trailers made it look out to be. There was just a lot of variety of problems. I mean, do you guys remember what happened with Extinction explicitly?
I just remember it sucked. So I don't remember exactly why it sucked, but I know that it sucked.
Streamers weren't happy about it. It was just super bad. Like even we had gotten a review key for it and we decided to turn it away because everybody was just talking so much shit on it. I was like, I don't want to cover a bad game.
I think it sucked, and then I kind of just decided to like forget why it sucked because I didn't care anymore. So
yeah. Another one I know a lot of people are. So our number 4 for top 10 worst games of the decade is actually somewhere all are going to have a comment on. Fallout 76. So Fallout 76 started out as a buggy mess, as most Bethesda games do. But what was really the icing on the cake is the fact that they still release with no NPCs, which now they've promised to put NPCs in the game eventually in a future update, but it still hasn't come out yet, which was actually supposed to come out last month originally, I believe. They decided to launch this fucking horrible program to pay money to have private servers, and it's basically turned into like a class war essentially in Fallout 76 for the players that still do play the game. So basically, people who are not subscribers are hunting the subscribers for paying money for the shit they should have gotten for free.
They're nuking them. They can't.
And nuking them, yeah. They can't hurt them, but they're nuking them.
They can't hurt, but they can just nuke them. So they're just nuking them.
Yeah. So imagine being so pissed off you go through the map for a couple days to go find all the keys to get nuke codes, and you nuke them because that's how upset you are with them.
The fact that they launched an online game with the creation engine.
Right.
The Fallout 4 engine,
is fucking enough for me because I played Fallout 4. I live in Massachusetts. I actually was working in Concord when the fucking game dropped. So, of course, I had that little, they're making a game in my hometown kind of hype. You know how pissed off I was being a veteran living in Concord with that storyline? That engine pissed me off. Make combat good. That was it. That's all it did. It made combat more fluid, and it fucked everything else.
So, like, to give the little backstory on it, it was actually meant to be in Fallout 4, and then they pulled it out and wanted to make it a separate game.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know who would do that.
Yeah. If it had released as a multiplayer component of Fallout 4 and it was free included with it, I don't think I would have complained about it. But since it was released as a separate game with the exact same engine with no real upgrades aside of the combat, which you mentioned, and now also releasing a paywall, which also, that's another thing too. The monetization in it was just horrible too. Like it's on one of the worst, which comes up to our number 3 here in a short second. But any final comments about Fallout 76?
Yeah, I'm gonna make this one analogy for all my web design people on here. Okay, it's like trying to make a really fancy ass website with HTML and no
God.
JavaScript.
Basically,
that's what Bethesda did.
And
they tried to make a fancy ass banking website with HTML and not one line of JavaScript.
And not to mention the memes that came out of Fallout 76, the pay to win or the pay service. It's the guy's website's still up, by the way. It's great.
The video essays alone, I watched a 3-hour video essay that had over 1,000 bugs for 76. It was ridiculous. Yes, I watch long ass video essays, people, and went through 3 hours. This guy went through every bug in 76. It was ridiculous.
That's crazy. So
I was just going to quickly add that I feel like the fact that they came out with Fallout first before even have like a clear roadmap of like what's coming next pretty much speaks volume about that game.
Yeah, and it was done by a brand new team. Like it shouldn't have been made.
Yeah.
So our top 3 is actually a bunch of really good top 3s. Like these games are on top 3 for a reason. Now our number 3 has actually set a lot of new industry standards that are still even happening today. Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now the game is actually great. It's a fantastic game in its own right now. But when it released this pay to win loot box scheme that it literally was pay to win. Like there's no way around it. If you bought like $100 worth of boxes, you are basically kicking everybody's ass in the game on multiplayer.
Well, I had the version of Battlefront 2 before that version. You know, the one they released on Steam.
Yeah, the old
code. Like the game was good. It was all right, needed some tweaking. Made it complete loot box pay to win dog crap, and now it's good again.
Yeah,
I'm crossing my finger it stays good.
Now, like Star Wars Battlefront 1, the remake. These are the remakes we're talking about here, not the original 2 Battlefronts, which were fantastic games on their own, right? But Star Wars Battlefront 2, the remake, was like the way they did monetization was just so bad and so shady that all the governments of the world have basically started cracking down on loot boxes. Like if you see it, like most of your big games, aside of Overwatch, which is one of the last ones to do it, and they still haven't figured out a way apparently to deal with their loot box problem. Have begun removing loot boxes because of legislation in different countries that are banning loot boxes. Now, I
actually covered that a few weeks ago with the UK's report on the Ministry of Children. They detailed everything for every genre.
Yeah, so I mean,
breaking down which even the UK government likes Minecraft. So
yeah, so I mean, so this game, like, reason it's in the top 3 is because it's actually changed. Like, it's changed the game on how legislation works for gaming now. Like. It got so bad and so much recognition to the point that governments got involved in how they regulate games because of it, which like by itself is just saying something. Like I think even in that this item should have actually made the number 1 spot, but the next 2 are pretty good too.
On one hand, we got to be thankful for Battlefront 2 for unintentionally getting rid of loot boxes now.
Yeah. I mean, despite like I'm a huge
for being so shitty, we fixed it.
So at the same time, like I love Star Wars. It was a game I bought right from the get-go. I love the game as itself now. Like it's a fantastic game now. But man, like the road to get there was. So going on our number 2, which happened to be years and years of hype. It was like 3 or 4 years of hype. Well, I can't say years and years. It was a few years of hype, and it finally came out in 2016. No Man's Sky. Now, while this game,
One Man's Lie.
It was yeah, the nickname No Man's Lie. It came out with the promises
I called it One Man's Lie because there was one man who got up on stage every time and lied his ass off.
So for 4 years, No Man's Sky was hyped up as being like this big, huge, universe changing, game changing universe that you're going to go in, you're going to be able to play with your friends, you're going to do all this stuff. They showed all these great trailers and all this stuff over years. And I think it was, I want to say 4 years total. They had showed it off when it finally came out. And it came out to be the biggest lie and buggy mess that anybody's ever seen. Like, I've never seen a player base go from super hype to fuck this game in 2.5 seconds. Like, it was that bad. Now taking back, this is also, if there was a top 10 comebacks ever in gaming, No Man's Sky has been number 1. Like, hands down. They've done the biggest, like, 180 in terms of, like, quality, the game, everything else since then. But in terms of, like, game launches, this was definitely one of the worst. Any comments on that one?
No, it'd be number 6 on my top 10 list for comebacks. I don't know about number.
I always think back to that comparison video where they showed off like the first trailer, and they actually show off like the gameplay, and they playing like that Jurassic Park music. They have like that weird version of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was even worse is they promised multiplayer right from the get go, and then there was multiplayer. You could technically, see what your friends were doing and all that kind of stuff. People found themselves finally in the first system, which is like millions of stars and solar systems and everything else in No Man's Sky, even to this day. And they found each other on the same exact planet, and all you can see was a dot, like a little lit dot of the other players. You could not actually play with them. You couldn't do anything with them. That was it.
Well, the crazy thing when we all played together is we were all experiencing different weather next to each other.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. Like we were totally out of
storms and stuff. You were like all calm, and it's like, oh, nice out, dude. What are you talking about? I'm like, dude, I'm in the middle of a hailstorm. I'm right next to you. Why are you not seeing this?
Yeah, that was an interesting one. That was like a divergence. So for the top 10 overall, I think in the worst game launches this decade, it actually happened to be last year. And this one we actually reported on when the show started. Like this is episode number 52. But when we started this show, we talked about it because it released on our second or third show of this talk show.
Dude, I'm over here dying.
And
yeah, me too, because I remember my comments all the way back those days.
This deserves number one.
This deserves number one on so many levels. So our number one of our top 10 worst game launches this decade has to go to Xaviant's The Calling 2. For reasons of the fact that the game only survived 24 hours on the market. It was that bad. Like they came out, the game was a fucking joke, for one. Nobody wanted Calling 2 to begin with. They're like, surprise, Calling 2 is coming out next week. And we're like, what? Like, wait, what happened to you guys just shut down the first one? And it was a great game. Fuck you. Like, bring back the first one. And that sentiment got like tenfold the day that Calling 2 launched. Like, there was only 1,700 people that played it from the launch day. And it was so...
I thought it was less. I thought it was like hundreds.
Oh, yeah, no, that's right. Actually, I take that back. It was like 500, 580 something. Most of it was actually streamers.
Yeah.
And my God, that was the biggest, shittiest, buggiest mess. Like, I love the Calling 1 because it was just a campy, fun game, like Battle Royale game in the beginning of Battle Royale, like around the time that H1Z1 and PUBG had just come out. Like, actually, PUBG hadn't even been out when the first Calling had come out. Yeah. And Calling 2 was something nobody asked for and nobody wanted. So they pulled the game down, and Xaviant finally came out with a comment like a week after the launch and apologized. We're like, we realize this is not the game you wanted, nor the game you asked for. Surprise, we're going to bring the first one back for free. And a few months later they did, and since then it's already died again. But what are your guys' thoughts on Calling 2 as being
I feel like the Calling 2 really hurt them. Like
Yeah.
Even when they tried to bring back the first one, like everybody was still like kind of upset that they did this, and they didn't listen to their fans at all. Like it was just so stupid of them.
Like Xaviant, I'll give it to them. They tried. They like legitimately tried, but they like with the first game, they listened too much to their audience, which was actually a bad thing. Like they were like, oh, they were listening to a bunch of people that were making the most noise, saying, you should change these, you should change this. But it was like whiplash changes in terms of how the first one was balanced back and forth, which is what ultimately killed it, because it was never actually balanced. Instead of making tweak changes and giving it some time to see how it would work, they were doing like almost daily patches and making these wild changes that nobody had asked for, except for these loud, small minority of the player base at the time. And Calling 2 Calling 1 had a huge player base at the start. Just because it was so campy and funny, and like even in fact some of my personal stream clips actually are due to the Calling 1 because they were just so hilarious. Like the in-game announcer voice was like probably one of the funniest in the game, in any game I played.
It was different and unique at the time.
Oh, absolutely. But 2 was definitely not anything anybody wanted in any way, shape, or form. So the fact that like probably not most people won't even remember it after this decade because it was just that bad.
I almost forgot about it.
So another one that in terms of like honorable mentions on like top 10 worst, I think
dishonorable mentions
in this case. The Ouya game console.
Yeah, you're taking this from me.
I'm taking this one from you.
Hold on. I Oh, what a mess. The only reason that I found out about the Ouya was Crobecat's video about it. Um, what a disaster. What a mess. I don't even know where they thought they were going with this. I don't know how they thought they were going to make this work. But it sucked really bad. And everyone was like, this sucked really bad. And they kind of didn't get that it sucked really bad until they were like right in the thick of it. And then they started making it worse. And it was like, how do you mess that up so bad?
So
how did you take something that was already really, really bad and then make it worse because you're being told that it's really bad?
yeah,
Make
so
it make sense.
the reason why this ended up being such a big sweeping thing is the fact that it raised $8.5 million during its Kickstarter campaign. It was a Kickstarter campaign to bring out a new console, basically. And there was just not it had a really cool concept when the Kickstarter happened, which is why they got so much such a big following on it to begin with. And there's tons of exclusive games. They were even bringing a Final Fantasy game as an exclusive to Ouya. The game or the system launched, it wasn't working. Their online services couldn't be reached. They just could not handle anything. 63,416 people had backed that game for $8.5 million. And I don't even think it was weeks before it shut down. Early Kickstarters, let's see how long it took. There's another article. I should have.
Yeah, we should have pulled something up for this. I think it was a week before they shut down.
Yeah, it was probably no more than a few weeks at most. But yeah, it was like a lot of companies noted, and it's the same thing. I just looked at 3 of them. Ending this strange chapter in gaming history when it shut down for good. So it's definitely one of those really, really bad, weird ones.
People, be careful with gaming crowdfunding.
Yes.
Yeah.
All I need to say, I say it all the time we talk about crowdfunded game. Be careful. I've only backed 1 game on Kickstarter.
2 for me.
Myself.
And one of them was Planetary Annihilation.
Yeah, I usually just stick to tabletop miniatures and comic books. That's the only thing I crowdfund nowadays.
Some other good dishonorable mentions is Anthem. Definitely, I think Anthem is definitely on one of those bad launches of the decade. Andromeda also was a really bad one. And then what was there's an Assassin's Creed. I think it was Assassin's Creed 3, I want to say.
Or Unity?
Or Unity. Unity was the one that was all the textures were missing, and it was just created horror nightmare fuel basically out of it.
That infamous skeleton creepy face.
Yep.
Yeah, and to mention a few MMOs that crashed and burned on launch. There's Paragon.
That was a MOBA. That was a MOBA, yeah.
That MOBA they completely trashed, and WildStar.
Valve's Artifact.
So WildStar's launched successfully, but they didn't update their game enough for people to stay interested. That was the biggest problem with it. And then when they finally did, it was too late.
Well, I saw issues starting in their beta groups. So to me, it was a rocky launch at least.
I mean, it was super successful. We had a bunch of groups at the time playing it, but it's
okay. Well, more on Paragon then.
Yeah, definitely Paragon. Paragon was actually a solid look and everything.
Yeah, it solid look. It solid classes. It jumped at the very wrong time, I think too.
Yeah,
the worst time to come out. They come out with a MOBA at that time in the market, I think was just silly.
Well, everything was trying to just like most companies do, they try to latch onto the success of another game. Like how we saw the whole the battle royale genre come out. We're seeing auto chess games rolling out like crazy. We're seeing CCGs come back in a very, very strong way in digital platforms. Like everybody's making a CCG these days. Some of these are just pretty wild. Another couple of them though, I'm going to take from somebody else's list is Evolve. I think it wasn't necessarily a bad launch, but it definitely died out a lot quicker than most people expected because of their balancing.
Who took that one from me? Was that Hendo? Yeah, you stole that from me. Thanks, Hendo.
Hendo got that one. And then COD Infinite Warfare was also.
Funkos for Evolve, okay, man. You back up, Jesse. I'll throw them at you.
Yeah, then COD Infinite Warfare was also another worth or dishonorable mention because it was just. What was the big thing for COD Infinite Warfare? I remember there was a lot of controversy around that one, but I don't remember what.
It just sucked.
They tried to be 2142, and they just sucked dirty toe. That's all they did.
Yeah, it really just was kind of gross.
Even the trailer got a horrible reception because they tried to do space carriers, all kinds of stuff. Like they went from Kevin Spacey and drones, which we got some cool stuff out of that. There's some dope speeches, and then one of the worst uses of Kit Harington since season 8 of Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay. So, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I remember that was like one of the most downvoted trailers on YouTube like ever. It's crazy.
Oh, that's right. That's what it set the record for as most disliked trailer on YouTube history.
So when it launched, it was just people were already writing video essays before launch happened on that game to rip it apart. And they did too. The Martian faction, the whole war made no sense. We don't get all of our Nimitz class carriers in one long line over New York, so somebody can blow them all up at once. What the hell?
It still sits as the most disliked video. 607,000 likes with 3.8 million dislikes.
Wait a minute, even worse than YouTube Rewind 2 years ago?
Oh yeah,
I don't think that counts.
It still has a history of it.
That's crazy.
So according to a few sites, it's just a general little poll of why Infinite Warfare was so bad. Was the graphics quality was bad. They got tired of the futuristic setting because it was like basically 3 years in a row of futuristic settings, and they kind of went to the extreme with it.
Yeah, that's why I didn't like it. I think that's why a lot of people didn't like it.
And the boots to the ground thing was they were just tired of it, and they made jokes about it in the game about no boots on the ground, and everybody was kind of getting tired of the whole like jumping on the walls and all that crap. Developers didn't listen to suggestions, too many simulators to Halo, and nobody liked the timetable for the series. Like everybody was just kind of burnt out on the super weird futuristic COD they were doing because they were just really trying to push it to another level.
Puck core.
Basically. But anyway, I don't want to take it out too much longer because Meta Show is coming up next here in 20 minutes. What do you all think for the closing out of this decade in gaming? Like any final mentions?
This is, I'm young. I'm 19. And I just spent the last 10 years of my life playing video games. And I gotta say, getting thrown into this world the way that I did of just video games and the way that they play and the way that some people interact and stuff has been bizarre and almost scary, but very fun. Definitely something that I would not be the person that I am today without video games. And growing up with this, I don't know what happened before it. I have no frame of reference. For me, it was just I was a kid, and then 2010 hit, and then 2011 happened, and then video games happened, and that was a huge part of my life. It got me through high school, got me through middle school. It's getting me through. I'm leaving. It's letting me leave college. I'm happy with the life that I have been able to make through video games. And it's a huge part of who I am. And this decade has been great. And I very much look forward to the first releases of 2020. So yeah, buy Cyberpunk 2077.
Damn, all right. Now no one can say nothing. No one can top that. Jesus Christ.
On that one.
Gotta sprinkle some salt.
Any last messages, Hendo and TT?
Yeah, Hendo, say something.
Okay, I'm gonna say something. This past decade in gaming, I can say I've been playing games twice as long as Froggy.
Yep. This is true. It's true.
Had to take a little small break because of some career choices I made in my early 20s. But it's been weird seeing it go from hard copy releases to completely digital. And since it's gone completely digital, this past decade has been very interesting for those of us who remember what was before.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like
yes.
The DLC schemes we've seen, I've seen DLC lists that cost 5 times as much as the original base game.
Train Simulator?
Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Oh, Train Simulator is worse than that now. Train Simulator is up in the thousands of dollars extra on DLC.
Yeah. We've seen crazy, get rich quick schemes. We've seen plenty of guys trying to scam their way into gaming by releasing stuff with, pre-made assets. We've seen a lot, or like homicidal game. What was it? Digital Homicide. We went through all that shit with them. we've seen a lot of ups and downs, how gaming has changed in the recent decade. With everything being through launchers now, we've seen some people try to fake it to make it. We've seen some interesting stuff with crowdfunding. It's been a very, very big learning experience as a consumer of video games. And I think it's just been trial and error for those making video games. Because it's like they've been testing the waters on how they can get into our wallets or how they can get into us long term. And you can see that. And a lot more transparency has happened in the recent decade too, with conventions and stuff like that. AMAs, gaming companies getting into streaming their own games with the dev teams. So, transparency is built up too in some areas, but also there's been an extra shroud in other areas on how the industry is working out. While we're always like, are we going through another gaming boom or are we about to crash? So it's been a very tumultuous and exciting decade, honestly, for the gaming and everything that's been changing. But I'm going to end it there before I go into like a long ass 20-minute rant.
Yeah, real quick. Both what Jesse and Hendo said is absolutely so beautiful. So thank you guys. But man, I'm thinking about it now. Like I'm getting up there. Like this is like I'm closing in close to like my third decade, like in gaming, my third decade in living. So so I have a lot of history.
Man, it's scary.
Yeah. I have a lot of history with just video games in general. And while like I have so many fond memories from the past like 2 decades, I think this decade, like if I were to compare like just the top 10 list of like games in general that I've played, most of them will be from this decade. Like this decade has connected me to so many friends, so many people, and it's just really made me so much more interested in like gaming and behind the scenes of gaming, the gaming industry. And it's like Hendo said, it's been crazy to see the change, like from going like lining up to midnight launches like in 2008 to like getting everything digitally now, just sitting at our computers and waiting for like the timer to hit 0.
Shout out to Flash games real quick.
The rise and fall in a few years.
Started for all of us, for all you gamers going into your third decade. Remember where it all started. Flash games, getting past that school proxy server.
Nitro.
And even like just seeing like how like devs used to like not interact with like gamers at all, and now that like they have like their own forums and they're like interacting like day one. It's just going to be so interesting to see like how we had physical, digital, and now we're getting into streaming gaming software. So it's been a wild ride pretty much, and I owe so much of my life to video games.
Yeah, I mean, just to go off of the last sentiment for me, for everybody else, man, like it's true. Like this last decade has actually made probably the biggest impact in gaming, going from physical to digital. I even kind of blanked out on the midnight launches. I used to go to midnight launches all the time. Like how fun those were.
Oh, they were amazing.
And how like our midnight launches now are like waiting till 9 o'clock on the West Coast and being like, all right, let's
look, I found a fossil.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But oh man, like it's totally true though. Like some of the stuff that just over the years, it's just changed so much, and I'm really excited to see like what happens. I mean, like here I am almost in my mid 30s now. And here I am, like I've been playing since like the original NES days, and like how much like games have changed even in the last 20 years. It's just interesting how to see how everything's going to change, going forward another 10 years. Hopefully, hey, maybe we'll all be around doing shows like this for another 10 years and see what happens.
Yes.
But yeah, that's all the time we've got for today. The Meta Show is up next here in about 15 minutes. I hope you all enjoyed this top 10 countdown for best games, our best games of this decade, and our top 10 worst game launches of the decade. Yeah, hope you all have a good one.
The meta must flow.
And the show's going to be back sometime early 2020 with a new show format, maybe even in some new updated graphics and a new name. So it should be really fun. Keep an eye out here on INN. Shout out to all the streamers and talk shows that are here on INN. Definitely check them out if you haven't. And we'll see you all next time. Have a good one.
for the permit. I don't care if you buy a permit. Do you know how little I actually care if you have a permit?
Complaining about the fact that he received no support from that. I think Boat has.
Yes, I do. Oh, I got some leaks for you.
Like simple shit like that. No, simple shit like that. If you can't answer that,
I need to bring in say more original every week. That's a goal.
Do you really actually get paid for that? Because you deserve money for that last one. That was